Hey gang, welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. A motorcycle? What's he doing with a motorcycle? Well, let me tell you, this is a project that I took on from a friend of mine, and I've been putting it off for a period of time. And I've decided, you know what, it's time to take care of this motorcycle, so I'm going to go over some details about what's going to happen to this bike. If you like videos like this, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to see more. Okay, so the bike is about an 05, 06, I believe, Triumph. And the friend of mine who has this, he's into the cafe style of bikes. And he found a bike that he likes in particular that is made, I think, by wrench monkeys. So I'll post some pictures of that bike as I go forward over and talk about this bike. Now, what he wants done is a few things. It's already been to a different shop and they've done some work to it, and he wasn't happy with that, and I understand that. You know, you want something done a certain way, and that's not what happened. So when you look at the pictures, you'll see there's, you know, like it's de-chromed. You know, it's black there. Of course, it has these pipes on it, which he's already got in place, and it has a cafe-style seat on it, and then also the tank. Now, this is the factory painted tank. In fact, it even has, whoever painted it has their name right there. And he wants that changed. He wants it done in the color that is similar or the same as the one on the wrench monkey bike. So I'm going to have to take that tank off, sand it and prep it and get it ready for paint. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing this now. I'm working on getting the 68 Mustang into the second round of high build. And why not take care of two things at one time? So I'm going to work on that tank. The other thing is this back seat area. Now, a cafe style bike, you're going to have a fiberglass, normally a fiberglass base, and then the seat attached to it. And again, I'll show these pictures, but this setup, which was done at another shop, they made it out of steel. And he wants it out of fiberglass, so I'm going to try to do that. Part of the problem is how this is all put together. So it looks like this piece of metal here goes underneath the tank. I'll have to investigate all that, see how this works out. But also the bike that he showed me pictures of, it comes out this way further. So it's got more of a shape here. And also it needs to come up over the tank area. Now, I don't know if you could get away with that with the steel plate, but with fiberglass you can form it to fit that sort of thing. Along with that, this back fender is wrong for what he wants. So he has supplied me with another fender that I'm going to put on here. In fact, this is the fender. So you can see it's got a different shape than what this one has. And I can appreciate that. You know, if you wanted a certain look, you get that certain look. You don't just kind of say, okay, that's close enough and live with it. So I'm going to address that. I don't know if I'm going to do anything different with these lights. This is where the license plate mounts, up here, and I may experiment, I don't know yet, but that's something I need to look at. So ideally, I need to undo what's been done to this bike, at least for the seat pan area, and get the tank off and figure out what I'm going to do to make a new seat pan for this. So, bit of a learning curve for me, but I think this is going to be fun. Before I do anything else, I want to get this bike up on this stand. I bought this stand years ago. I've held on to it, so I'm going to make use of it. Now I know this pipe is loose, this muffler on this side, and really it shouldn't take anything to remove it from what I'm seeing. It just slips on, and I don't even know if they had this clamp tight or not, but it's off, so I need to do that to the other side. And then I want to get it up on the stand. This will make it easier because the stand has little legs on it that need to get up underneath the swing arm. The nice part about this is these slide in and out. You can adjust them to match the width of your bike. So maybe not the best angle for that. I apologize. but at least now the bike is up on this stand. So that's a good thing. Good, that's better. A little more centered now. Now, of course, the point of that is if I'm going to be working on making the seat pan, I really would like to have the bike, you know, as level as I can get it. I can't make it totally level, but I can at least not have it leaning side to side. So now I need to take apart all of this stuff here and figure out what's going on. Okay, so big heavy plate now out of the way, and it looks like he tried to incorporate a lot of things into mounting just that. So I'm going to separate some stuff. So there's a plug-in for, I'm guessing, you know, the brake light and turn signals, and of course all of this is exposed underneath with water splashing up or something. I don't know that that's such a great idea, but I'm going to end up modifying all of this anyway. And then there's some sort of module here, electrical module. I don't know what it's for. I don't know that I need to know what it's for, but I'm going to unplug that as well. And that's a Triumph something. Says evap on it, so evap thing. And then there's some push pins coming through this plate back here that is supporting various other pieces. Well, I say that, and I don't know what that is either, and I don't know that I need to know. But what I need to do is keep everything protected as best I can. Just discovered two components down here that are exposed. So let me see what. There we go. Okay. So for now, I'm just moving the wiring out of the way, and I'm going to revisit this seat. So without knowing anything about this in particular, it looks like this piece has been added on. I can see where it's been welded. So what the original shape was, I have no idea. But that's the angle we're going to go with. From there, I've got what looks like a battery tender hanging out up here. I'll show you that. So it's got one of those little lightweight batteries in it. And then, of course, the battery, I'm guessing tender. So I would assume that he'd like to be able to access that, you know, and it looks like with the way this was configured, you couldn't do that. You couldn't get to it. I may end up doing some cutting here, rebuilding this design to make it more functional. I don't know. I don't know who made what, so I don't know what's original and what's not. This tray kind of looks homemade. And it might be, or maybe a purchased item that was inserted. I don't know. But I don't plan to mess with the battery, at least not at this point. So I may modify some brackets and stuff. I need to investigate it a little better and get some ideas, because I don't like having components exposed and connectors and stuff like that exposed to water. So let me see what I can come up with. Okay. I'm doing some more investigating as I go forward. Now, again, this video is primarily supposed to be about building the seat pan, but it looks like I have to do a lot more than that. I can't just build a seat pan and live with how this is. So I removed this side cover, and what I discovered was these components are just hanging out. They're not mounted to anything. I'm sure they're supposed to be mounted to something, but they're not mounted to anything at this point. So I need to address that. I'm going to be proactive with this. I pointed out earlier, this module You know, it was all the way in the back, up high. Well, why? There's no reason for that. What I plan to do is probably weld in a plate somewhere right about here, off of the back side of this or somewhere, because there's actually a lot of space behind this based on the shape of that cover. So I can mount this up here. I can mount this. I can mount that. I could probably even tie these in somehow so that everything is out of the way and safe. I also noticed the other side, there's also some components hanging out, so I may have to do something on the other side as well. But that's what I'm seeing. I need to do more than just work on the seat. Along with that, I think there's enough wire here that I can, let me find the end. Yeah, that connector that I have for the brake lights, I can cut this out of this bundle, and that allows me to take that length towards the back, and the rest of this can stay up here in the front. So yeah, now I'm going to come up with a plate, and you know, I might even add some a deflector of some sort in here to keep water from coming in this direction. I'll work on that, but for now I need to focus on that, and then I'll have to reevaluate, let's say, the seat pan setup. Okay, so I removed the panel on this side, and I realized that this has this custom aftermarket piece to relocate your brake pedal. So it covers that up, which is fine. And I recognize that the little master cylinder here, it's just floating out in space. So I'm going to make something to mount it basically right there. I may have to trim this plate down because I can't put it, there's not enough space to have it out in the open. And if you're going to service that, you need to take those screws out. So I can't put it underneath of that. The limitation is the cover. When it's on, I push this up against the inside, and I can only get about there. So I think if I open that up, this space, then I can mount this. I'll put a post or something over here. Sorry, a little post or something that I can bolt that to. And then this is the fuse box. So again, I'll come up with a bracket of some sort, you know, maybe off of here, some sort of piece that'll support both of these. So these are going to be okay. It'll take a little fabrication, but that'll be fairly simple overall. I'm going to see what I can come up with. You know, I want to make it practical and functional and not overly complicated, but to do that, you know, you have to kind of design things. So I do have some metal here, and it's probably 16 gauge. That may be thick enough for what I want to do, because again, I'm going to come up with a bracket here, and I could triangulate it so that it stiffens it up, but I think that is going to work on both sides. This may be out of sequence, but I'm just trying to show you some things. You know, I want to be able to mount the seat, obviously, to this structure, and I need something to align the seat and also hold the front section in place. Now this has, I'm assuming this is part of the gas tank. It appears that way. There's two bolts here. This has this channel right here. Well, I found a piece of, I guess it's 3/4 inch square tubing, and that happens to fit exactly underneath that. So yeah, it's 3/4 inch square tubing, and you can see I've already cut it down, but it fits right in that channel. So that's going to be my alignment for the seat pan. Now, of course, I don't know how all this is going to play out, because the plan is I'm going to do the live stream the seat pan, but I got to get prepped, or have it prepped and ready to go. So what I want to do is have this in place. You can see I have a notch cut into it. So if I clamp that in, that gives me my alignment for the seat. Now, the next thing I want to do is add a piece of metal. I want to attach that to the underside of this piece, and I'm using this because it has a bunch of holes in it, and I'm going to scuff this up even more. It won't be that long. I'll probably make it about 4 inches. It'll be about the width of this bracket. But I'm going to weld this to the bottom of this, and whenever I start layering in my fiberglass, this is going to get sandwiched in between. So the holes are going to help hold it, roughing it up is going to help hold it in place, and that's going to give us a really nice setup for getting the front mount point of the seat. Now, of course, I still need to do something with the back, but I've got to get this addressed before I move forward. That's my fabrication piece. So again, that's going to slip up under the tank mount, and I can adjust this a little whenever I start laying in fiberglass. This will get layered into it, so I can play with the height and get it where I think it's going to be good. And I can bend this a little bit to give it some more I don't know, the correct height, whatever word I want to use. But anyway, that's what that's going to do. So that takes care of the front half. Now, I need to be able to mount the rear half of the seat. And along with that, I'm going to be adding in this short piece of rear fender. So I've drawn a line on this fender roughly where I want it to be. So if I put it back here, it gives you kind of a visual where it's going to end up, hopefully. So this gives me some space right here that I can use for a mount point for the seat, because this piece is angled. So I need something I can put bolts through, and this isn't going to work. So what I did, I always save scrap metal, and this is a bracket off of a bed frame, some sort of bracket. I took one of those and I cut it in half. The nice part about it is it had a built-in taper. So I can take this one, put it over here on this side, and follow the frame angle, and it also will tuck in nicely on the back side here because it doesn't have a lot of material hanging out. Conversely, there we go, I can do this on the opposite side. So that'll take care of rear mount locations, and I think that's all I really need. Now, of course, once I get these welded in, I'll have to enlarge these holes, because likely I'll go with something like a 3/8 bolt, and that bolt would be embedded in the seat pan. So when this slips in, it has to be able to come in and drop into that location. I think that's going to work just fine. So I have the brackets welded in place. I like the way they look. They're nice and level going across. That's good. And then, I showed this earlier, and I had to revisit this, because if I put this in like I was saying, and it's hard to visualize things once in a while, but the fiberglass is going to have to come from up here on the seat area down over this, and then it doesn't transition well, So thankfully, the way I made this, it works out pretty well. I can turn this over, and it's going to raise that up. And what that will do is give me a better transition for the fiberglass. So I will put some cardboard or something underneath here to support this in place when I get to that point. And I can have that in there, put some fiberglass down, of course, and work this in and try to keep it from getting onto the tongue here, and work that into the seat. So hopefully that works, but we'll find out. So here's where I'm at with the motorcycle project. I know when I left off on this video series, I was talking about doing the plates and stuff like that underneath, but I realized that I needed to build this seat pan before I continue. Part of that is I need to be able to mount the rear fender, and until I know my limitations back here, I really couldn't make the proper brackets. So in my live stream, I showed this process of how I layered fiberglass on this bike frame. I still needed to add probably 1 or 2 more layers, but I just want to show you that it's hardened up. But what I want to do is add I'm going to add some bolts back here where I made some brackets, and I want to layer those in. I'll probably use carriage bolts, and I want to get those sandwiched in between the fiberglass so they stay in place. Otherwise, I think everything else is looking good, and that's where it's at right now. So it's probably going to take another couple layers anyway of the fiberglass. But I will, once I get that done, once I get the seat pan made completely, then I can go back to working on the brackets on the side. So that'll be the end of this video for right now, but there's more to come. Alright, that's going to be the end of this video. As I said, there will be another segment where I work on the seat pan and the brackets and that sort of thing. But I wanted to let you know that, this past few weeks I've been out of sync, let's say, or out of sorts. My brother passed away, and I've talked about him before, and he was 59 years old, passed away suddenly after a few weeks of hospital visits and stuff like that. I don't want to go into details, but it wasn't COVID related, but he's gone. So that kind of slaps you in the face, when you think about it, that somebody 6 years older than you has suddenly passed away. So anyway, it's been kind of difficult to stay focused on things, family matters and family issues, and that's part of the reason why I'm taking care of this bike right now, because this is something that's been on my list and it needs to get done. I've got to shorten up my list and reconsider where I'm going with things as I move forward. Projects have dragged on through no fault of my own, but that's where I'm at right now. So I have to figure out where I want to be moving forward. But I'm still going to keep making videos, and I want to thank my patrons who have been supporting me, during this last year or so. They've been joining in and helping out, and that's been fantastic. I want to thank you all for using Amazon. That helps out as well. And, I'll keep making videos. We'll keep moving forward and get some stuff done. Now, I'm not normally doing motorcycle stuff, but I do a lot of different things. And once this is out of the way, I'm going to move forward and get back to cars and get some stuff done. So, sorry for rambling on. Again, my mind is all over the place, but thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.